Lawmakers are ready for yet another day of work trying to finalize or get anywhere on that financial bailout plan. Here now is Congressman Paul Kanjorski of the House Financial Services Committee and the Capital Markets Subcommittee Chairman. He joins us from Washington. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning.
We hear from some camps, at least, that there is progress being made. Is that true?
Tremendous progress. Quite frankly, I think that with the president's speech last night laying the predicate, as we all asked him to do, we had this on a two-track situation. We wanted the American people to understand how serious the problem was. And, of course, the Congress and the leadership up here, we've been working for about 6 days to put the bill together to get it accomplished. We've done that. And I would say it's almost an accomplished fact. They're going to further negotiate some fine points this morning between the House and the Senate. They're going to pay respects to the President, the White House, and the presidential candidates. But quite frankly, the faster they can get out of the White House, get back up the hill, we'll have a bill done.
So you don't have a problem with the candidates being called? They're not a disruptive force today?
Well, it's a delaying force. Look, we know what has to go in the bill. We've negotiated very hard. It's been very responsive from both sides. We have the bill basically complete. All we have to do is sign off. And all this posturing that, oh, my God, we need the help of all these people coming in and telling us what to do, it's just ludicrous. Jack knows that. He's been to Washington enough times to know how this game is played.
What are the big sticking points right now?
What is that, Jack?
What are the big sticking points right now?
Our big sticking points is we had agreement on the leadership, but we didn't have the members following. We recognize that's why we had to bring the president out to set the predicate. He did that last night. Now, most everything that everyone is asking for as a condition to put this together has already been agreed to and is in the bill.
Right.
And we've had tremendous good cooperation between the leadership, the chairman of the various two committees, Senate and House committee, and the leadership on both sides. This is really almost a done deal. I can't announce it because that's not my role. But quite frankly, I think it's important that we figure out calendar-wise, time-wise, when we can get this action up and done. And because of the holidays coming up next week, we have a little bit of a problem. So I would hope maybe we can stay here Saturday and Sunday and get this out of the way.
So
God bless you.
You think we could have a deal and signed or at least voted upon by the time the markets open Monday morning?
We would sure like to do it. The only thing that would prevent us, it seems to me, from doing that was feet dragging or time or whether these candidates get in the way. And I've already bought 2 tickets for the candidates to get back to Mississippi for tomorrow night and get them on their presidential campaign and let us attend to the business of the government. This is actually, let me take a stop and thank you fellows and thank the media. Everybody's come together here and recognized that we had this hollow bowl. Our people around the country didn't understand why was this so important, why do we have to do something. We've taken 6 powerful days now and on 2 tracks have set that predicate, I think, well this morning. I'm more optimistic this morning than I've ever been. And in the meantime, while we were preparing to do that, we spent the time in writing and figuring out what had to be done and put it together. So we are at that point now. We could roll it out, announce it, and do it, and I think that would be a tremendous boost to Wall Street, to America, but around the world. It would show that America has that vitality of force to operate.
Is it going to be, is the 700 number that we've been watching for so long, will that be attached, or is this going to be the tranche thing that Chairman Frank has raised possibilities about?
Well, Barney and I were talking yesterday. It may be changed just as a matter of ego with people. That doesn't really matter. I do agree with Secretary Paulson and Chairman Bernanke. We've got to have it a large enough number so it sends a real message that we're serious.
That's so important. We got to look like we got a howitzer on the problem,
Absolutely.
Not a water pistol.
Right, absolutely, Jack. And quite frankly, there's ability in this bill to be very flexible. And if anything, if additional amounts are necessary, we can come back immediately and do it. We're not going to be that far away. We're, at worst, 3 to 4 hours away from Washington. And it's amazing how telephones work today to get people back there.
It's good to see you've kept your good humor, Congressman, after a long week. Can I ask you if what you're saying is going to come to pass in the coming days, where was the turn? Who gave on what that made this possible?
Well, it really, there wasn't a turn. Everybody, they came in with a 3.5-page severe bill, naming a king, King Henry. I think that was good. And I think, as Secretary Paulson said, look, he didn't want to eat the prerogatives of the Congress, and maybe that's the case. But we sat down, and it's now maybe 42, 45 pages. May add a little fluff in there above and beyond that. But we have it, and we have everything covered. We have the American taxpayers participating on the upside. So we have warrants, options, and preferred stock. We have something on mortgages to help people who are in real distress to keep them in their homes. We have, we're going to address a beginning process on executive salaries. And that's essential because you can hear the cry across the country that we don't want our money going out and bailing somebody out for $30, $40, $50 million. I agree with that. And then we have a situation that we've created really a battleship. We're ready to go to war. We're saying we're committing the full forces of the American people and the American government to solve an economic crisis, a freeze-up. But that can be done. And I say a year from now we're going to be talking about, do you remember how we all worried and went gray this one week in September? When it's all over, we're going to get right back up and get going. So
you're convinced, and I assume your colleagues are convinced, at least those that agree with you, that you can go back and now sell this to the constituents who will have lots of questions this weekend?
I believe so. It's not going to be easy, but the numbers are falling in place. I think everybody knows it has to be done. Look, this is going to be a true test of profiles and courage. Anybody that's been elected to the United States Congress, House or Senate, has to stand up, be a man, and be counted. The American people, our economy, and our nation and our world needs action, and definitive action. We've constructed the vehicle to do that. And I say this, look, economics and an economy were made by man. Now it's in trouble. We can fix it because man originally made it. Let's not get scared. It's not something that came down from heaven or from God. We put it together. It's fallen a little apart. Let's put it back together and get it done.
Are you really a congressman? You are great.
You are really great.
You're part of our government?
Joe, you're a pessimist. You get in here.
I am, I mean, everything you're saying is hitting the wires right now, too, Representative. And,
really?
that approval ratings just went up about 3 or 4 points on all of Congress, I think.
Well, look, they've been working awfully hard. 20-hour days. We've contained this. We don't have a lot of ducks out there, gunners taking credit. It's been hard work. And really, I have to pay homage and respect to the leadership on both sides of the aisle in the House, Nancy and John Boehner, and then the chairman of the various committee and the ranking members, and a lot of hard hours, and staff, unbelievable. We lost, I think, 3